Hello world, my name is Paul with the Backyard Hibachi. Today we're making prime rib. Let's go. Alright, a few ingredients that you're gonna need. Some mayonnaise, we're gonna use this as our binder. Salt, garlic for aromatics. We're gonna be using fresh rosemaries and fresh thyme. And the star of the show is the prime rib. This is a bone-in 5-pound. All right, let's go ahead and prep the ingredients for the binder. All right, in a food processor, you're gonna throw in a few cloves of garlic. Just depends on how garlicky you want it. I'm adding about 15 cloves of garlic. And we're just gonna make a nice paste with the oil and the salt. Salt you just want to taste. That was probably around 1 to 2 teaspoons. Let's go ahead and add in our herbs for aromatics. Rosemary, you're just gonna kind of pull down the opposite direction. I really like the smell of thyme. It's so aromatic. Kind of smells like how you would describe umami. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more oil and blend it up. And when you're done mixing, you're gonna have a nice fine paste like this. And now we're gonna go ahead and add the mayo right into the garlic, thyme, and rosemary mix. So I'm doing about 3 teaspoons of the mayo, and let's go ahead and blend it up. All right, now that we have our binding mix made, let's go ahead and put it on the prime rib here. We just want to coat the prime rib evenly. And you're going to use your hands. Get all in between the cracks. All right, so we got our prime rib completely coated with the binding agent. Now we're gonna coat the entire thing with salt. And the binding agent is to help the salt stick onto the meat. And we're just gonna cover this whole thing. I'm not gonna put pepper, but at home, if you guys are using pepper, if you're using a coarse grain pepper, put the pepper on first. And this allows the pepper to coat the piece of meat, but also it gives room for the salt to also penetrate the meat. All right, so the last step here is just patience. We're gonna let this brine for about 3 to 4 hours and then check up on it in about 3 hours, and then we're gonna throw it on the grill. All right, so for today's cook, we're just gonna be using a standard grill. I've got my grill here set to about 220, 230. So we're gonna cook this slow and then we're gonna finish it off with a sear. All right, so I have a pot holder here. So what I'm gonna do is rest the prime rib on top of this because I don't want contact with the grates. All right, let's go ahead and get our prime rib on the grill. And we're just gonna let it cook in there for about 2 to 3 hours. All right, so we've got our prime rib on the grill. Next thing I wanna talk about is just the temperatures. What you wanna aim for with the cook is about 115 to 118, and then you wanna let it rest. This is for a medium rare prime rib. The residual heat that in the steak is gonna move outwards and inwards as well. So it's gonna continue cooking. So I mentioned earlier in the video that I'm using a 5-pound roast. And this should take about 3 hours to get to 118 degrees. From that 5-pound mark, if you add another pound or 2, you're gonna add another half hour of cooking time. So if you're at 6 to 7 pounds, it'll be 3.5 hours. If you're at 8, 9 pounds, then it'll be about 4 hours. And this is cooked at 220 to 250 degrees. So not everybody out there is gonna want a medium rare steak. If you're looking for a medium prime rib, then you wanna cook it to about 125, and then you're gonna let it rest for 30 to 40 minutes, and that'll give you your 135 for a medium prime rib. And you're gonna go up about 10 degrees in temperature every stage of wellness that you want. So medium rare is 118, medium is about 125, 128, And then right on to medium well is about 135, and all the rest time should be right around 30 to 40 minutes. If you have a electronic thermometer with sensors, that's fine, use that. If you have an old school thermometer, I'm gonna show you how to calibrate this. So what you wanna do is take a glass of ice water. You're gonna dip your thermometer into the ice water. The reason we're using ice water is it's at a constant 32 degrees. So you want your thermometer right at 32 degrees, and this ensures that you're correctly calibrated. Most thermometers will have this hex screw like so, and then on the back side is also a hex. And all you need to do is line up the hex, and then just turn your needle after you have the hex locks in place, and it'll calibrate it. And you need to calibrate it whenever it's inside the ice water to 32 degrees. We're about 40 minutes into the cook, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little smoke coming out. And this is what we're looking for, is getting the best of both worlds. There's a little bit of smoke coming from the grill itself. We're right at the 1.5 hour mark. You can see the underside is already starting to cook a little bit. We're just gonna grab this thing with our tongs and then give it a flip. So after we make this flip, this is when most of the smoking is gonna start happening, because the fat cap is now closer to the grates. So this is gonna allow the fat to drip onto the flavorizer bars, and it's gonna smoke up a lot more. And we're gonna close this right up. All right, we're about 2 hours and 15, 2 hours and a half into the cook. And I just wanna check the internal temperature of the prime rib. So we're gonna take our calibrated thermometer and just stick it right in the middle. And we're looking for 118. So it looks like we're at about 100 degrees. All right, let's take a quick look at that fat cap. That is looking beautiful. Look at the crispiness. Some of the fat has pulled away. So now what I want to do here is I'm going to move it to the top rack, and I'm going to turn this thing on high to about 500 degrees and give it that final sear. After we turn it on high, we're aiming for this thing to be right at 450. Once you approach the 400 and 450 mark, you're going to see a lot of flare-ups. This is what you need. This is the fats dripping down into the flavorizer bars, creating a little bit of smoke, and that smoke is going to infuse into the prime rib. So once we do that, we're going to leave the prime rib in there for about 10 minutes. All right, it's been about 10 minutes now. Let's go ahead and check the temperature. So we're looking for this thing to climb right at 115, 118, and it looks good. So let's go ahead and turn off the grill. Yeah, we'll go ahead and transfer this into a pan. So we just took this out of the oven. We're gonna let it rest for about 40 minutes. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. The aroma's coming out from it, from the herbs. So what we're looking for now is just to let it rest, and then we'll come back, we'll take the bones off, and I'll cut it, split it down the middle, and I'll show you what it looks like in the middle. It's got that nice rosy pink color that you're looking for. And I'm gonna sneak a small piece. The fresh garlic, the thyme, the rosemary, the salt, and the mayonnaise all complement the prime rib very well. There's a little bit of a smoky flavor on the outside, and then that smooth velvety texture on the inside that you're looking for with prime rib. I hope you give this recipe a try. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, peace.